At the edge of a long forgotten road, a dilapidated Victorian house stood, coated in layers of peeling paint and overgrown vines. At the edge of a long forgotten road, a dilapidated Victorian house stood, coated in layers of peeling paint and overgrown vines. It wasn't just any house, it was the old Whitmore home, notorious for its tragic history. Evelyn, a bright but troubled 17-year-old, had always been drawn to its eerie aura. To her friends, it was a place to avoid. To her, it whispered secrets. Evelyn didn't have many friends, and the few she had seemed more preoccupied with their own worlds. They seldom noticed the erratic thoughts that flickered through her mind like shards of broken glass. She felt them creeping in, thoughts that felt unmoored and washed ashore on the sands of madness. Growing up, she had seen her grandmother descend into dementia, a slow and painful unraveling of a woman once filled with stories and love. The haunting epiphany of losing her grandmother gripped Evelyn like a vice, leaving her searching for ways to understand the hidden corners of her mind. That day, under a sky thick with ominous clouds, Evelyn's curiosity overcame her apprehension. She trekked to the Whitmore house, the whispers in her head urging her forward. The rumors about the place were rife. Tales of families driven to madness, of voices echoing in the corners, and laughter that didn't belong to anyone. As she stepped onto the creaking porch, a shiver crawled up her spine, yet she pushed the heavy door open. Inside, the air felt stale, thick with dust and the scent of mildew. The wallpaper was peeling, and the floorboards groaned underfoot, but it was beautiful in its decay. Evelyn wandered through the rooms, feeling an undeniable connection. It was as if the house itself breathed, alive with memories that thrummed beneath her fingertips. In the depths of the living room, she discovered an old mirror, its surface tarnished but enchanting. Dim reflections flickered back at her, twisting her image in distorted ways. As she leaned closer, a peculiar sensation washed over her. The whispers grew louder. They seemed to coalesce, forming shapes and colors that danced at the edge of her vision. "Evelyn," a voice breathed, soft and melodic, yet filled with an unease that made her heart race. "Who's there?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Help us." The mirrors began to blur again, and the shadows within flickered. Visions of people parading through her mind. At first, they were strangers, but slowly they solidified into familiar faces of those she had known. Friends, relatives. Her grandmother, once vibrant, now a ghost of herself. Panic rose within her, a fear that latched onto her throat. She stumbled backward and crashed into a bookshelf, sending books toppling around her. The whispers surged, overwhelming her senses, twisting into frantic murmurs until they crescendoed into screams. Suddenly, a vision of her grandmother enveloped her, a wisp of memory clothed in shadows. Evelyn could hear her, clearer now. "Don't let them in." "Don't let who in?" Evelyn cried, clenching her fists. "What do you mean?" "It's too late." Her grandmother's voice faded like smoke dissipating in the air. All at once, the house shifted. The walls pulsated with an otherworldly energy, and Evelyn felt an insatiable pull towards the mirror. As she reached out, the glass rippled like water, revealing her own reflection twisted grotesquely, her eyes wild with panic, her hair tangled and dark. "Join us," the voices churned like a tempest of despair. Desperation flooded her. She had to escape. Evelyn turned to run, but the door slammed shut, trapping her within the house's embrace. The whispers morphed into disappointed sighs, echoing through the halls. Evelyn scrambled, darting from room to room, trying to find a way out. The walls began to close in on her, memories swirling in chaotic disarray. She caught glimpses of herself, laughing with friends, comforting her grandmother, but those images morphed into screams of terror and confusion. The distorted reflections coiled around her mind, pulling her deeper into a web of despair. Panic surged as the walls seemed to draw breath, expanding and contracting, hiding secrets of every tear shed and every lost memory. She felt them all, the weight of the burdens she carried, the madness that threatened to consume her, just like it had her grandmother. In a moment of clarity, Evelyn recalled her grandmother's warnings. "Don't let them in." She steadied her breath, reflecting on the love and warmth she had experienced amid the chaos. The voices faltered, hesitating. "I won't succumb," she shouted, grounding herself in all the moments filled with love. The walls pulsed one last time, their sinister grip faltering. With a roar, Evelyn barreled toward the mirror, shattering its glass with her fists. It was as if the house gasped for the release. The whispers disintegrated into silence, and one final memory flashed before her, her grandmother, smiling brightly. With glass shards glinting like stars around her, Evelyn found the heavy door had opened. She stumbled through, becoming a phoenix, igniting her path into the stormy night. The house fell behind her, quiet, shrouded in its dark legacy. The whispers faded like long-lost secrets, and the weight of fear slipped away, if only for a moment. But as she stood under the stormy sky, she knew the journey wasn't over. Shadows still lurked in the corners of her mind, and though she had escaped the Whitmore house, the lines of sanity thinned like the rain that dripped down her skin. And the whispers? They might come back. After all, they had never let her in. But they would wait.